Thank you very much. Thank you to Lee Greenwood, and thank you to Ralph for the incredible introduction and for the extraordinary leadership you've displayed for a long time. I've known Ralph for a long time. He's done an incredible job. And I didn't realize this is number 6 times. And I'll see you next year. Okay. 10 years ago, you founded this organization with a few people and a great deal of prayer. Today, the Faith and Freedom Coalition is the largest faith-based get-out-the-vote organization in modern American history. A lot of progress. We've taken action to uphold free speech on college campuses. Colleges are now, by the way, looking around very carefully when they throw conservatives and religious folks off of their campuses. Looking around very, very carefully because they have a big, fat, beautiful monetary penalty to pay. I haven't heard too much about it since I did that a few months ago. Do you notice that? I haven't heard so much about that. We give them billions and billions of dollars, and then they don't let people speak. And I don't care, liberal, conservative, it doesn't matter, Republican, Democrat, but you can't do that. We're preserving our country's vital tradition of faith-based adoption, and we're proudly defending the sanctity of life But keep fighting, because, as most of the people in the room know, it's very fragile. Unfortunately, Democrat politicians have become increasingly hostile to pro-life Americans who want to help more children find a loving home and share their dreams with the world. Virtually every top Democrat lawmaker now supports taxpayer-funded abortion right up to the moment of birth. And by the way, if you watched Virginia, the governor, after the moment of birth, that was something that nobody heard of before. After the moment of birth, nobody believed it. I had never heard of it. I don't think anybody had heard of it. When he talked about wrapping the child and then discussing with the mother whether or not she wants to keep, the child is born. So that becomes an execution. That becomes an execution. Every child, born and unborn, is made in the holy image of God, and that is why I have asked Congress to prohibit the late-term abortion of babies. And they'll do that. And I heard the story of an incredible, unbelievable young woman who was battling rare bone cancer. They made a mistake. A doctor or a hospital made a mistake. She called it it was a medical error. Her name is Natalie Harp, and she lit up the television screen like very few people I've ever seen do it. And she talked about how they were preparing her for death. And because of Right to Try, she's now living and I think doing phenomenally well. And somebody said she's here. Are you here, Natalie? Where's Natalie? Will you come up here, please? Come up, Natalie.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, we all know the story about the Good Samaritan, but what you don't know is I was that forgotten person on the side of the road, the victim of medical error, the number 3 cause of death under the previous administration, and left to die of cancer. First, the medical establishment, they came by and they saw me there, so they wrote prescriptions for opioids, and they walked on. Next, the political establishment, they saw me there. And they stopped just long enough to come over and tell me how to die, how to speed up my death so I could somehow die with dignity. But then an outsider, my Good Samaritan, President Donald J. Trump, he saw me there, and he didn't walk by. He stopped, and for every single one of us, he gave up his own quality of life so we could live and work and fight with dignity, because he believes in survival of the fighters, not the fittest. And so, Mr. President, I have to say you have made a lot of promises to us, and you have kept every one of them. So now we're going to make you this promise. Just as you fought for us, forgotten America will never forget how you saw us on the side of the road, and you walked over, and you picked us up, and you made us great again. And now we're going to fight for you, Mr. President. God bless you.
We want every American to have the chance to live and to dream and to thrive and to protect the safety and well-being of our citizens. We're securing our border, building the wall. It's being built right now. Could have been so easy, the wall, if they gave us the money, but they won't give us the money. The Democrats won't give us the money, and I think it's more political because a wall works, okay? They have drones. They want to give me unlimited money for drones, unlimited money for everything. You know, a drone flying up in the air doesn't help as 5,000 people are charging the border, unless you want to take nice pictures of what's happening. So we'll have I probably believe more than 400 miles built by the end of next year. It's under construction now, and I'm taking from here. We're all over the place. We're taking Army Corps of Engineers is doing a great job, but we're building a lot of it. It's already started, and it's a lot of it's being done, and it has such a tremendous difference. It's day and night. This year alone, 43,000 minors have been illegally smuggled across our border, providing a lucrative cash flow to some of the most dangerous criminal organizations anywhere in the world. Loopholes in federal law prevent Homeland Security from removing illegal aliens who get smuggled into our country through bad laws. It's our bad laws. And by the way, Mexico, they're really helping us. They just put 6,000 soldiers on the southern border, their southern border, and they just announced they're going to put 16,000 soldiers on our southern border. And it's had a huge impact. It's only been a few days, literally, but it's had a huge impact, and they were great. And I'm glad I didn't have to do tariffs on Mexico. I'm glad. I'm very glad. But we've been trying to get them to do that for 40 years, more. They said for 40 years. And you know, I'll tell you what, they stepped up. And as I say, Mexico is doing more to help us than the Democrats, who are doing nothing. Nothing. We have repeatedly asked the Democrats to close these loopholes and to save the lives of young immigrants. I mean, they're too busy interviewing people on the Russian witch hunt, on the hoax. If they spent a little bit less time on the Russian witch hunt, which turned out to be a total phony deal. Actually, they're the ones that committed the crime, as it turned out. If they spent some time on that, they could solve the loophole problem in an hour. They could solve the asylum problem in an hour. And we'd have no problem whatsoever at the border. They don't want to do it. They want things to look bad. They want open borders. Open borders mean crime, means human trafficking. Human trafficking. Mostly women. Okay? Human trafficking. This is like prehistoric, a word like that, trafficking. Who would think? There's more human trafficking in the world today than there ever has been in history. Who would think that? You think of it almost as an ancient term. It's not. Because of the internet, all over the world, it's happening. Mostly women. And the Democrats don't want to fix it. Someday you'll explain this to me. And I actually think, even from the strictly political point of view, I think it's a terrible thing for them. I hope they, actually, I want them to fix it. I really do. But if they keep going in this path, who the hell would want to vote for them? But they should take a little time off, and they should go and fix the loopholes and fix asylum. And frankly, coupled with Mexico, what Mexico's doing now and stopping people from coming through Mexico, you would have a border that would be better than it's ever been. And we'll be there pretty soon in any event. And as the wall goes up, every area that we build, we pick the worst areas first, but it makes a tremendous difference. Democrats who refuse to close these smuggling loopholes are effectively supporting and promoting child endangerment and exploitation, and they're making some very, very bad people, the cartel people, rich, very rich. People are saying they're making as much money or more money with people now as they do with drugs. These are rough people and they're bad people, and we could solve it so easily. They've got to fix the loopholes and fix asylum. The tragedy playing out on our border is the predictable result of Democrats' twisted obsession with open borders policy. They want open borders. You saw these massive caravans of 10 and 12,000 people, 15,000 people in one case. And in those caravans are some very good people. But also in those caravans are some very, very bad people. And they're probably put there by the countries who want to get rid of them, probably. I don't say that. But we were paying those countries $600 million a year, and I cut it off about 7 or 8 months ago. I said, look, they could stop these caravans. And then I took a lot of heat from Democrats that said, we want to pay them. Well, maybe if they get it right, but they're doing better for us right now. If you look, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, they're doing much better for us right now. We're close to a safe third agreement with Guatemala, which we appreciate. They're doing much better for us now than when we paid them. When we paid them, they were just taking our money and laughing at us. Now they'll do anything to get that money back. And if they do a great job, I think we'll maybe do that, right? Does that make sense? But $600 million a year we were paying, and we were getting nothing but disrespect. And this is for many, many years. Now I took it away. And honestly, they've been, I think, much different. But they would put bad people in those caravans. They don't want killers. They don't want murderers. They don't want people that are criminals. So let's send them to the United States. And they're not doing that anymore. And we're doing some very strong work. And again, with Mexico having 6,000 soldiers at that border, that's a tremendous deterrent, I can tell you. Democrats are solely responsible for the humanitarian crisis because they've refused every single effort to shut off the magnets of child smuggling. Hard to believe. As long as coyotes believe they can use children to evade our laws, children will continue to be endangered. When you come in with a child, our laws are so bad that you have a tremendous advantage. So you get these people, and they give them children, and they charge them for it. They walk in with a child that isn't their child. And because the Democrats have these horrible laws that were horrible many years ago, that they should have fixed a long time ago, but they don't want to do it for political reasons. But think of it. If you have a child, it's much easier to come in. And that's why we have so many children who've been so badly abused. And we're taking care of them much better than President Obama took care of them, I can tell you that, much better. And he was the one that had separation. I'm the one that put people together. And I said, you know, when you put the families together, because separation is so bad, a lot more people are going to come up. And I was right about that. But still, the whole concept of separation is so bad. But again, fixing the laws would solve everything. And they could do it so quickly. It's so simple. They know what to do. They just don't want to do it. If the Democrats have any shred of moral decency on this issue, they must immediately charge forward and change our laws. They have to end all child smuggling. We have laws. It would end all of this horrible child smuggling. How do we have thousands upon thousands of children? We have them because the law incentivizes criminals to bring children up and use those criminals to get people into our country. Can you even imagine this? And we're the only country in the world that has this. The only country in the world. And we want to put behind bars those criminals that place children in this kind of danger. Every day Democrats obstruct these changes. They fight like hell so that we can't make the changes. Every day they leave laws and trafficking victims, and we have a very, very tough law, Trafficking Victims Protection Reauthorization Act. They leave it in place. More migrants are put in harm's way and exposed to abuse and assault by criminal cartels. They could fix that so easy. It would take no time. Some congressmen in particular, but also some Democrats, they want to get rid of ICE. I'll tell you what, you get rid of ICE, you're going to have problems, because we take MS-13 out of our country by the thousands. We take other gang members out and drop them back either into jails, which in a way I hate to do, because then we have to pay for them for 30 years. I hate to do it. But we bring them back to their countries and say, you handle them. Problem is that all of a sudden, 2 years later, you see them again, because our laws are so screwed up. To protect our nation, we're also rebuilding the United States Armed Forces like never, ever before. Lindsey Graham said last night, he made a speech and he said last night that he's been a senator for a long time. He's been in politics for a long time. He's always been very strong on the military. He's never seen our military so strong as it is today. It's a great statement. And I know it hurts our budgets, and budgets are very important to me, but there's nothing more important than keeping our freedom. And this is a time when we need military, more important than anything else. We need military. We'll worry about budgets. We spent $716 billion last year and $700 billion the year before. And we have brand new fighter jets. We had jets that were so old they didn't fly. We had jets so old they had to go to the desert, to the airplane graveyards, they call them. They have graveyards of old planes. They had to go there to get parts. Now we have brand new, beautiful F-35s, F-18s, best planes in the world. And they're all made in the USA, right? We like that, made in the USA. And as was stated a few times, because I've seen it and heard it so much here, but I recognize the true capital of Israel and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem. Thank you. Thank you. Every president said they were going to do it. You go back many, many presidents, they said they were going to do it. They never did it. They never did it. And I understand why, because the pressure put on you once you get into office not to do it by other countries is amazing. I got so many calls, and I knew they heard I was going to do it in 2 weeks. I got so many calls from the heads of countries. So when I knew they were calling about that, I'd say, tell them I'll call them back in a week and a half. I'm very busy. I'm very busy. Because it's hard to tell, a king no. They've never heard no before. So, I don't mind telling them no, but what do I have to waste my time for, right? But I see why that other people, that they just didn't do it. They campaigned, I will recognize all of them. And they didn't do it. And they didn't do it. They didn't come through. This is many, many presidents, not just President Obama. He campaigned on it too, never did it. Bush campaigned on it. Clinton campaigned on it. Everybody did. They didn't do it, and I did it. But what I did with the calls, I'll explain this just to this first row of young geniuses from Liberty University. What I did is I didn't take the calls. And then after I signed the document, had a press conference, announced it, and now Jerusalem becomes the capital of Israel. It's a big thing, right? After I did it, I probably had 25 calls from leaders of countries who were going to say, please don't do it. I called them back. Hey, what's up? What's going on? What's up? And they said, sir, we were going to ask you not to do the embassy in Jerusalem if that were possible, but you did it yesterday. Maybe most importantly, or very importantly, I withdrew the United States from the disastrous Iran nuclear deal. Remember when they signed that deal? They're all screaming, death to the USA, death to the United States. They're screaming as we're signing a deal. Whoever signs a deal when they're screaming death to the USA? You got John Kerry, the world's worst negotiator, who, by the way, has totally violated the Logan Act, okay? You know, he's talking to them all the time, telling them what to do. Gee, don't do it. You're going to make me look bad if you do it. Don't make a deal. Wait Trump, he probably says, wait him out. Maybe you'll lose the election. How about that? We have a long way to go, 15 months, right? And you have a guy saying, wait him out. Maybe you'll lose the election. That's against the law. It's against the law. You can't do that. I'm supposed to be doing a good job. I tell you what, if it weren't for him, I really think they would have already been in negotiations with us, maybe even had a deal. But maybe that won't happen, and if it doesn't happen, that's fine with me. I have unlimited time, as far as I'm concerned. But that was a disastrous deal. Death to America, death to Israel. Remember, they're signing it, Kerry's signing, they're screaming, death to Israel, death to America. We've imposed the toughest ever sanctions on Iran, and we added more this week. My administration is also speaking out against religious persecution all around the world. We believe that every community has the right to worship in peace. In Latin America, we support the people of Cuba and Nicaragua and Venezuela in their righteous struggle for freedom. A lot of progress, too. In America, we reject the failed socialist ideology of government domination. The choice of our future has never been clearer. The radical left offers a vision of socialism, censorship, high taxes, open borders, and extreme late-term abortion. Our movement is about lifting up all Americans. We're fighting for the American worker, we're fighting for the American family, and we're fighting for the American dream. With your help, our nation will prosper in the fullness of faith and the glory of liberty. Our families will be strong, our children will be free, our country will be safe, and America will forever remain one proud nation under God. Together with the love, the prayers, and devotion of everyone in this room, and the millions and millions of patriots all across our land, we will make America great again for all Americans, greater than ever before. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.